You are exhausted, yet you can't switch off. Your job or your business is treating you like a robot, expecting you to always keep going. So you end up always on, but tired and wired at night, maybe scrolling yourself to sleep or needing a glass of wine at night just so you can finally get some shut-eye. And then you wake up immediately on edge right the next day. That's the struggle of a modern high performer. The world is just getting faster and faster, expecting us to keep on and catch up. That's not how it works, is it? We are not robots. At least we're not mechanical robots. We are more like biological robots. And we need rest and recovery, and we need a proper energy cycle. And that's exactly what this video is about. Think about our ancestors back when they were living in caves, right? Hunter-gatherers. Picture this. It's a brand new day for our friend Brock, who needs to go and hunt for his food today so that he can feed himself and his family. So he wakes up and he starts to prepare. Maybe he sharpens his spear, he plans, he thinks about where he's going to go. And then he goes out and he goes for the hunt. This is where he's most on edge, right? He has to pay attention. Is there going to be a tiger in the bushes? Where do I go? I need to remember how I come back. Okay, now I see the wild pig that I need to catch, so I need to run after it. I need to predict where it's going to go, how it's going to juke me. And then I need to be focused enough to actually spear it so I can bring it home, right? So you really need to pay attention during the hunt phase. And then he comes home with the loot, right? And then they celebrate together with his family, and they have a great feast, and they cook the meal, they eat, they're having good times, they're telling the stories of what happened in the jungle, and then they go to sleep. If you look at this more closely, you can see that there's 4 very clear steps to the cycle of Brock's day, right? First, he was preparing, then he went for the hunt, then he celebrated the successful hunt, and then he went to sleep. Now, what happens in today's world? You wake up in the middle and you go straight to the hunt, right? You pick up Slack, you open your phone and you enter Slack messages, or you freak out about what's in that email. Start your day immediately in the hunt phase. There's no preparation. And maybe you have breakfast in a rush and all of this, right? And then what happens in the evening? Well, you don't really stop working because there's endless projects. There's always the next deadline. There's always something happening. So even when you come back from the office, or if you work from home, it's even harder. But even when you come back from the office, you're still on Slack, you're still answering messages, you're still paying attention to emails, you're still thinking about work. Even if you're not doing work, you're still thinking about work. So your brain is stuck in the hunt phase. Even if you're trying to spend time with your family, or you're at the family dinner, you're thinking about work, or you're thinking about what happened during that meeting and maybe what you could have done better or what you need to do better next time. So by the time you go to sleep, your brain is not ready for sleep. Your nervous system is still on edge and you can't fall asleep. So you pick up your phone or you have a glass of wine to kind of short circuit and finally pass out. Now, this is a big issue. The main issue, there's obviously many others, but if you stay on this road, it will lead to burnout city, just straight up, right? So the core issue of all of this is actually in the neurochemistry. We have evolved super well. Like, we are amazing biological robots and we operate really well, right? And we are still very similar to our ancestors, like Brock, who used to go to the jungle and hunt his food. We operate in a very similar way. So this 4-step cycle throughout the day is modeled by our neurochemistry and what's fueling us and what is happening inside our body at that specific stage. Our neurochemistry, you can think about it as the hormones, control our bodily functions, it controls our state, it controls how we feel, how well we can focus, how we can sleep, how we can process food. Everything is controlled by our neurochemistry, what's happening inside our body, right? And during the hunt phase, specifically cortisol and adrenaline are really high. Those are the hormones that help us be super focused in the moment. hyper-focused. This is where stress is high, where attention is high, and you need to pay attention. They drive us to pay attention because there might be danger around, and I need to be really on point. And they are amazing. They are amazing at this. However, this comes at a cost. For example, they also slow down our metabolism. They shut off our immune system pretty much exactly because we need all of our energy and all of our resources in that moment to be in it for the hunt. We don't need to process food at that time. We don't need to fight off diseases at that exact time. That comes later when we're not in the jungle, not in the immediate danger, while we're celebrating and while we're resting, right? Now, to fully transition from the hunt to the rest phase, there needs to be that bridge, that celebration. Just like when Brock came home and he brought the loot and everybody's with him and they're cheering and celebrating and dancing around the fire and telling stories. And that's a really, really important phase that's missing in most of our lives. And that's the core of why we burn out. It's not the workload, it's not the work hours, it's really that we don't complete, that we don't finish our energy cycle on a daily basis. And so if you stay stuck in the hunt phase only for an extended period of time, your body literally starts to break down because it cannot process food, it cannot fight off diseases, it cannot fully rest and recover. That's why there's all of these symptoms that we have and then eventually full burnout. And people take months to recover from a very severe burnout. People end up in hospitals because of this. And again, it's not the workload, it's not the work hours, it's not the stress at work, it's because the energy cycle is not complete. So all you need to do, if you want to keep your high performance and you want to keep performing, you want to keep hitting deadlines, you want to keep crushing at work, but you want to avoid the burnout and all the anxiety and all those negative symptoms, what you need to do is just make sure that you're completing your energy cycle. And so how you can do that is you make sure that you install those transitional phases, that preparation phase and that transition phase, that celebration phase, because those are the two main ones that are missing. You will need a little gap after you wake up before you go to work. So there's a little, these days I like to call it digital sunrise, where I'm not allowed to go on my phone, I don't go online, maybe I can use my meditation app, or I can listen to a nice podcast or some nice music, but not allowed to do anything with work, no social media, no messages, nothing that can get me into a reactive state and spike my cortisol and adrenaline early in the morning. And then secondly, there's a ritual that you can do at the end of the day that will help you transition from work mode into rest mode. And that's really important, right? And especially if you have a family and you want to spend time with family, you want to be present, you want to enjoy that time. So just a couple steps. You can do this maybe in about 10 to 15 minutes. It can make all the difference. So even if you are busy, but especially if you are busy and you have a really busy schedule, you want to implement these. So first, before you leave your workspace or before you leave everything, write a list of what you accomplished. Because so many times we think about, oh my God, this is what I have to do next. And we have never-ending to-do lists and never-ending projects, right? Or long-term big projects. So reflecting every day after you finish up your main work block of what you actually accomplished can make the difference. It triggers your brain into the celebration phase instead of being stuck in more hunt, more hunt, more hunt. It's like, no, actually, I did really well with the hunt today. Let me move on and celebrate. So you want to write down your accomplishments, write down the things that you did. Even if they're not big accomplishments, just the work that you actually put in, write it down with your journal. Best if you do it physical pen and paper. Again, helps with the whole processing. Secondly, change your outfit, change your clothes, especially if you work from home, right? Just change your uniform. It can make all the difference. And then thirdly, this is where you do a little bit of a somatic practice. I like to do some shaking, like shaking my body off. It really literally shakes off the excess cortisol and the excess adrenaline out from your body. Just like if a deer or if some animal in nature gets hunted and then runs away and escapes the danger, they physically shake off. to get rid of the excess adrenaline and cortisol that they don't need in the moment, so they can actually rest and recover and prepare for, next time they might need to escape danger, or they might need to do some physical work again. I'm gonna do something like that. It can also be a walk. It can also be a nice meditation, or it can be a stretch. It can be something to do with yoga, somatic exercise like that. I also sometimes like to do box breathing, or the physiological sigh, where you inhale, you do a double inhale and a long exhale. Really well stimulates your vagus nerve and helps you calm down as well. So those are some of the exercises that you can do. Really, 3 simple steps. First, write down everything that you've accomplished. Second, cut off the work. Close your laptop and put it in the drawer if you can, or something like that. Fully cut yourself off and change your outfit. And 3, do some physical somatic experience exercise that can take 5 or 10 minutes. That helps you transition to being present in whatever else you need to be present with. And if you resonate with this, and if you've struggled with this, but you want somebody to help guide you through this process and help you install more principles and protocols like this into your life, so that you can keep your high productivity and high performance, but you want to avoid the high functioning anxiety. In other words, replace high functioning anxiety with peaceful performance, I created a special one-on-one experience that I call RoboHumanist Reboot, that will help you install this and also make sure that you're on the right path towards creating the life that you really want, instead of just being stuck managing a life that you found yourself in, while implementing these protocols, the energy loop or the energy cycle, and many other RoboHumanist protocols that will help you create a healthy relationship between your humanity and also the way you use technology, and really set you up for success in the next few years. As we're coming into 2026 right now, if you're watching this a little bit later, the world's changing, and we need to adapt. We need to change how we operate as well. So I'm super excited. There's a link below in the description if you want to come talk to me and you want to do this one-on-one experience with me. It'll take about 45 minutes and you'll walk away refreshed. We'll close all the tabs that you have open in your brain. And it'll be a really fun, really energetic, physical experience, physical time. And I'm looking forward to seeing you. So yeah, click the link below and let's do this. And even if you don't book the call, make sure that you're implementing that celebration ritual, so that you complete your energy cycle on a day-to-day basis, and you don't need to visit the hospital because of burnout. So keep crushing it.